You cannot win what you do not understand, and you cannot understand others until you learn to see what is unspoken. Every conversation is a battle of perception. Words distract, but intention never lies. The wise do not listen to what is said. They observe what is hidden, a flicker in the eyes, a pause before speech, a contradiction between word and action. These are the true signals of motive. In this message, I will show you how to see people, not as they present themselves, but as they truly are. Subscribe to our channel if you're ready to master your mind, and tell us, where are you watching from? Words are weapons of deception. They are chosen. They are polished. They are designed to create an impression that may have nothing to do with reality. The skilled deceiver speaks with honey while plotting with poison. The insecure man speaks of his strength while trembling inside. The desperate woman speaks of her independence while clinging to every validation. But here's what most people don't understand. Words are the least reliable source of truth about another person. Watch a politician promise change. Then watch how they vote. Listen to a friend swear loyalty. Then observe how they act when you need them most. Hear a business partner declare partnership. Then see how they behave when money is on the table. The gap between word and deed is where truth lives. I learned this in the campaigns of ancient China. Generals would speak of honor while planning betrayal. Allies would pledge support while secretly negotiating with enemies. Diplomats would offer peace while massing armies at our borders. The commanders who survived were not those who believed what they heard. They were those who watched what was done. Behavior is the language of intention. It cannot lie because it flows from the core of who someone is. When pressure mounts, when stakes rise, when nobody is watching, this is when true character emerges. A man may claim generosity, but watch how he tips the waiter. A woman may speak of loyalty, but observe how she treats friends when they are absent. A leader may preach integrity, but notice how they handle criticism or failure. Actions reveal what words conceal. They show investment where speech shows performance. They demonstrate priority where conversation demonstrates preference. The man who truly loves his family does not merely speak of love, he sacrifices for them. The woman who values friendship does not simply claim loyalty, she appears when needed. The leader who respects his people does not just declare respect, he serves their interests above his own. Here is your first lesson in reading true intention. Ignore the speech, study the behavior. Watch for consistency between what they say and what they do. When these align, you have found authenticity. When they diverge, you have found deception. The wise strategist builds advantage through observation, not assumption. Trust what you see, question what you hear. And remember, in the space between words and actions, the truth of every person is written. The eyes are windows not to the soul, but to intention. They reveal what the mind attempts to hide. Before words are chosen, before expressions are crafted, the eyes betray the truth. Watch. Where someone looks when they speak, the guilty glance away. The confident hold your gaze. The calculating look past you, seeing possibilities you cannot imagine. Here's what most people don't understand. The eyes move before the lies begin. A man preparing deception cannot maintain steady contact. His gaze shifts, seeking escape routes for his conscience. A woman hiding attraction cannot prevent her pupils from widening. Her body knows before her mind decides. A child planning mischief cannot keep his eyes from dancing toward his target. The eyes confess what the mouth refuses to admit. In my campaigns, I learned to read armies through their commander's eyes. The general who avoided my stare was planning retreat. The one who glared too intensely was masking fear with false bravado. The one who looked through me, as if seeing distant battlefields, was already calculating his next 3 moves. Victory belonged to those who could read the unspoken language of the gaze. But let me ask you this. When you negotiate, do you watch their eyes or listen to their words? When someone promises you something, do you see confidence or uncertainty in their stare? When a person claims to care about you, do their eyes show warmth or calculation? The mouth can lie. The eyes cannot. Watch for the micro-expressions that leak truth, the brief flash of contempt when someone pretends to agree, the momentary fear when someone claims to be unafraid, the quick glance toward what they truly want when they claim to want something else. These signals last milliseconds, but they reveal everything. Study the direction of their gaze during conversation. When they look up and left, they are constructing stories. When they look up and right, they are recalling truth. When they look down and left, they are processing emotions. When they look down and right, they are engaging logic. The trained observer reads these patterns like a general reads terrain. Notice how someone's eyes behave under pressure. Do they narrow with focus or widen with panic? Do they dart seeking escape or steady with determination? Do they brighten with excitement or dull with resignation? The eyes adapt to circumstance. They reveal not just what someone thinks, but how. They think. Watch how people look at what they value versus what they claim to value. Their gaze lingers on what matters. It passes quickly over what they pretend matters. Time your observations. Measure their attention. Truth lives in what captures their sight. The wise strategist masters this ancient art of observation. Before your opponent speaks, you know their intention. Before they act, you understand their plan. Before they reveal themselves, you have already seen them clearly. Read the eyes, know the mind. Win without fighting. Truth flows immediately. Lies require construction. Between question and answer, in that brief moment of silence, deception reveals itself. The honest man responds without delay. His truth is ready, requiring no assembly. The dishonest man hesitates, buying time to craft his fiction. In that pause, you glimpse the workshop of deception. Watch for the micro-pause that precedes fabrication, the split second where someone decides not to tell the truth, the brief silence where they choose their words carefully, not for accuracy, but for effect. But here's what most people don't understand. The pause is not always about lying. Sometimes it reveals deeper truths. The man who pauses before saying, "He loves you," is not necessarily lying. He may be measuring the weight of that word. He may be considering what love means to him. He may be afraid of the vulnerability that truth requires. The woman who hesitates before accepting your offer is not necessarily rejecting you. She may be calculating consequences. She may be weighing obligations. She may be protecting something precious to her. The pause is a moment of internal conflict. It reveals the battle between competing truths, competing desires, competing fears. In my military campaigns, I learned to read the hesitation of my enemies. The general who paused before accepting my terms was not convinced of his position. The diplomat who delayed before answering was consulting loyalties beyond those stated. The scout who hesitated before reporting was editing his observations. The pause revealed what the answer concealed. Study the length of hesitation. A brief pause suggests mild deception or careful consideration. A longer pause indicates major internal conflict or significant fabrication. An excessive pause reveals either deep contemplation or desperate construction. Listen to what fills the pause. Some people clear their throat, buying time. Others repeat your question, stalling for thought. Some laugh nervously, relieving internal pressure. Others sigh, revealing the burden of their decision. These sounds are not random. They are the music of mental processing. Notice what happens immediately after the pause. Do they speak faster, trying to overcome their hesitation? Do they speak slower, being extra careful with their words? Do they change their tone, adjusting their emotional presentation? The post-pause behavior reveals the nature of what they constructed. During the silence, watch for the pause that contains too much. When someone's brief silence feels heavy with unspoken words, you are witnessing the suppression of truth. They are choosing what not to say. They are editing reality in real time. The master of perception learns to read these silent moments. In the space between question and answer, between statement and response, between invitation and acceptance, lies the truth that words cannot capture. Time your observations. Measure their silences. The pause is not empty. It is full of revelation. What a man does repeatedly is who he is. What he avoids consistently is what he fears. Let his habits speak his truth. Actions are not accidents. They are choices repeated until they become character. The man who checks his phone during every conversation values connection to the distant overpresence with the immediate. The woman who arrives late to every meeting communicates that other people's time has less value than her comfort. These are not flaws. These are statements of priority carved in behavior. But here's what most people don't understand. People believe their own justifications more than you do. The habitually late person genuinely believes they are busy, not disrespectful. The chronic interrupter truly thinks they are engaged, not rude. The promise breaker honestly feels they are optimistic, not unreliable. This is why you must read actions, not explanations. Watch what someone does when they think it doesn't matter. The man who is rude to waiters but polite to bosses reveals his true nature. The woman who is generous when others are watching but stingy in private shows you her authentic values. Character is what you do when you think nobody important is looking. In my strategies of war, I observed that commanders reveal themselves through small actions repeated over time. The general who inspected his troops daily was reliable under pressure. The one who delegated all details to subordinates struggled when circumstances changed. The one who hoarded information created chaos when clarity was needed. Victory went to those who could predict behavior through the study of patterns. Study someone's automatic responses. How do they react when frustrated, when complimented, when challenged, when ignored? These reflexive behaviors bypass conscious control and reveal the true operating system of their personality. The man who becomes angry when questioned fears his authority is weak. The woman who deflects every compliment believes she is unworthy of praise. The leader who blames others for every failure lacks the strength to accept responsibility. Automatic responses are like fingerprints of the soul. Notice what they invest their time in without external pressure. A person's freely chosen activities reveal their deepest values. The man who spends hours perfecting his appearance values image above substance. The woman who constantly helps others values connection above personal advancement. Free time is the laboratory of authentic priority. Watch how they handle resources, time, money, attention, energy. The careful allocator values security. The generous giver values relationship. The hoarder values control. The spender values experience. Resource allocation is a map of internal hierarchy. Observe their relationship with difficulty. Some people avoid challenge, revealing fear of failure. Others seek it, showing hunger for growth. Some complain constantly, displaying a victim mentality. Others solve quietly, demonstrating a warrior mindset. How someone handles adversity tells you everything about how they will handle working with you. The wise strategist builds understanding through observation of repeated behavior. One action is an event. Multiple actions are a pattern. Patterns are predictive, and prediction is power. Loud confidence often hides fear. The man who overstates his power secretly doubts it. The woman who constantly proclaims her independence desperately needs validation. True strength whispers. Weakness shouts. Watch for the person who talks too much about their success. Listen to the one who repeatedly mentions their wealth. Observe the one who constantly references their achievements. These are not displays of confidence. These are symptoms of insecurity. The truly powerful do not need to announce their power. It is evident in everything they do and everything they choose not to do. But here's what most people don't understand. Excessive behavior is always compensating for something missing. The man who brags constantly about his intelligence fears he is stupid. The woman who flaunts her beauty obsessively worries she is unattractive. The leader who demands constant praise suspects he is worthless. Overcompensation is the loudest confession of inadequacy. In my military experience, the most dangerous enemies were the quiet ones. The general who threatened loudly was usually bluffing. The one who remained silent while preparing was genuinely dangerous. The fortress that displayed too many banners was often the weakest inside. Strength is secure in itself and needs no advertisement. Study the difference between confidence and bravado. Confidence is calm, steady, and selective in its expression. Bravado is loud, frantic, and constant in its performance. Confidence responds to challenge with measured action. Bravado reacts to challenge with escalated drama. The confident person can afford to be wrong. The insecure person cannot. Notice who needs to be the center of attention in every conversation, who redirects every story to themselves, who cannot let others receive praise without diminishing it or redirecting it. These behaviors reveal a desperate hunger for validation that no amount of attention can satisfy. The black hole of insecurity consumes infinite energy and remains empty. Watch for the person who cannot handle silence in conversation, who fills every pause with words, who talks over others not from enthusiasm but from fear of being forgotten. Silence terrifies the insecure because it leaves space for others to matter. True confidence is comfortable with others' moments to shine. Observe how someone handles being ignored or overlooked. The secure person remains stable. The insecure person escalates their behavior, becoming louder, more dramatic, more demanding. They interpret being ignored as confirmation of their worst fears about themselves. The reaction to being overlooked reveals the depth of internal security. Pay attention to the person who must always be right, who cannot admit mistakes, who argues every point regardless of its importance. This is not intellectual rigor. This is ego protection. Their identity depends on being superior to others. The need to be right about everything reveals the fear of being wrong about yourself. The master of human nature recognizes that excessive behavior is information. It tells you what someone fears most about themselves. It shows you their weakest points disguised as their strongest claims. Use this knowledge wisely. When action and speech diverge, trust only what you can see. The body never lies. The calendar never lies. The checkbook never lies. But the mouth lies constantly. A person's true priorities are revealed not in what they say they value, but in where they spend their time, money, and energy. These three resources are finite and precious. How someone allocates them tells you everything about who they really are. The man who claims family is most important but works 70 hours a week has told you his real priority. The woman who speaks of friendship but never initiates contact has shown you her true investment. The leader who preaches teamwork but takes credit for others' work has revealed his authentic character. But here's what most people don't understand. People are not lying when their words contradict their actions. They are lying to themselves. First, the father who says he loves his children while missing every important event genuinely believes he is working for their benefit. The friend who claims loyalty while gossiping behind your back truly thinks she is being helpful. The partner who promises change while repeating the same behaviors honestly believes they are trying. Self-deception is the foundation of all deception. In war, I learned to ignore what enemies said in negotiations and focus on what they did in preparation. The army that spoke of peace while sharpening weapons was planning war. The general who offered alliance while fortifying borders was preparing betrayal. The diplomat who promised cooperation while hoarding resources was expecting conflict actions. Reveal intention. Words reveal strategy. Study the gap between promise and performance. The wider the gap, the more unreliable the person, The narrower the gap, the more trustworthy they are. But pay attention to consistent patterns, not individual incidents. One broken promise is circumstance. Multiple broken promises are character. Watch how someone treats their calendar. The person who consistently schedules time for what they claim to value is authentic. The one who never finds time for their stated priorities is showing you their real priorities. Time is the most honest currency because it cannot be manufactured or borrowed. Your calendar is your true value system made visible. Observe their financial choices. The person who spends money on what they say matters is genuine. The one who spends money on what they claim not to care about is revealing their hidden priorities. Money flows toward what we truly value, regardless of what we say we value. Your spending patterns are your actual priorities in numerical form. Notice their energy investment. Who do they light up around? What activities energize them? What causes drain them? Energy is emotional currency. We invest it in what we care about and withdraw it from what we don't. Energy flows toward authentic interest and away from artificial obligation. Watch for the person who says they hate drama but creates it everywhere they go. Who claims to want peace but starts conflicts. Who speaks of wanting success but sabotages their own efforts. These contradictions reveal internal conflicts that they have not resolved. When someone fights themselves, you see the battle in their contradictions. The master of human perception learns to trust the evidence of action over the promise of words. Behavior is truth. Everything else is performance. 1 moment is noise. 3 is coincidence. But repetition is a blueprint. Learn to follow it. The person who is late once had an emergency. The person who is late 3 times has a pattern. The person who is late 10 times has shown you their relationship with time, commitment, and respect. Stop calling it coincidence. Start calling it character. Patterns are the language of personality. They tell you not just what someone has done, but what they will do. They are the most reliable predictor of future behavior because they emerge from the core operating system of who someone is. But here's what most people don't understand. Patterns are not choices. They are deeper than choices. They are the automatic responses that run beneath conscious decision-making. The person who gets angry every time they are questioned is not choosing anger in each moment. They have a pattern of feeling threatened by inquiry. The woman who withdraws every time there. His conflict is not deciding to withdraw each time. She has a pattern of avoiding confrontation. These patterns were carved by history, reinforced by repetition, and now they run like software in the background of personality. In military strategy, I learned that armies have patterns just like individuals. Some always attack at dawn. Others always retreat when casualties reach a certain threshold. Some always negotiate when surrounded. These patterns, once identified, became predictable vulnerabilities. The general who could read enemy patterns could predict their next 3 moves. Study someone's pattern with money. Do they spend impulsively or carefully? Do they hoard or share? Do they use money to control or to connect? These patterns reveal their relationship with security, power, and love. Financial patterns are emotional patterns made visible. Observe their pattern with conflict. Do they escalate or de-escalate? Do they fight or flee? Do they attack the problem or attack the person? Do they seek resolution or seek victory? These patterns predict how they will handle every future disagreement. Conflict patterns reveal core fears and core values simultaneously. Watch their pattern with opportunity. Do they seize chances or hesitate? Do they take calculated risks or avoid all risks? Do they prepare thoroughly or improvise constantly? These patterns show you their relationship with uncertainty and possibility. Opportunity patterns predict performance under pressure. Notice their pattern with other people. Do they build others up or tear them down? Do they listen or dominate? Conversations, do they keep confidences or spread information? These patterns reveal their fundamental view of relationships and trust. Social patterns are trust patterns. Pay attention to their pattern with responsibility. Do they accept accountability or deflect blame? Do they follow through or make excuses? Do they solve problems or complain about them? These patterns show you their relationship with ownership and maturity. Responsibility patterns predict reliability. But let me ask you this. What patterns do others see in you? What predictions would someone make about your future behavior based on your past behavior? Are you conscious of your own patterns, or are you running on automatic? The wise strategist first masters their own patterns before attempting to read others. Self-awareness is the foundation of all strategic advantage. Once you can read patterns, you can predict behavior. Once you can predict behavior, you can position yourself advantageously. This is how the ancient masters won without fighting. Watch how they respond to pressure, insult, or silence. Truth leaks in reaction, not intention. Reactions are involuntary. They bypass the conscious mind and emerge directly from the core of who someone is. In the split second before someone can control their response, you see their authentic self. The person who becomes defensive when questioned fears their position is weak. The one who attacks when criticized cannot handle the possibility of being wrong. The one who withdraws when challenged fears confrontation more than they value truth. These reactions are not choices, they are revelations. But here's what most people don't understand. Reactions reveal what someone values more than their stated values ever could. The man who claims not to care about money but reacts strongly when his spending is questioned cares deeply about money. The woman who says she doesn't need approval but becomes upset when criticized desperately needs approval. The leader who preaches confidence but reacts poorly to challenges is fundamentally insecure. Reactions are the involuntary confessions of the soul. In my experience with warfare, I learned that the most valuable intelligence came not from what enemies planned, but from how they reacted to pressure. The general who panicked when surprised was vulnerable to deception. The one who became angry when challenged made poor decisions under stress. The one who remained calm revealed either deep strength or dangerous calculation. Victory belonged to those who could predict reactions and then trigger them strategically. Study how someone reacts to unexpected compliments. The secure person accepts them gracefully. The insecure person deflects them, argues against them, or becomes suspicious of the giver's motives. The narcissistic person expects them and becomes upset when they don't come. Reactions to praise reveal the depth of self-worth. Watch their reaction to being ignored. The confident person remains stable. The insecure person escalates their behavior to regain attention. The manipulative person punishes the person who ignored them. The mature person respects others' right to their attention. Reactions to being overlooked reveal the strength of internal validation. Observe how they react to failure or mistakes. Do they learn or blame? Do they adjust or justify? Do they take responsibility or deflect accountability? Do they use failure as information or as evidence of their inadequacy? Reactions to failure predict future success. Notice their reaction to others' success. Do they celebrate or diminish? Do they feel inspired or threatened? Do they ask questions or make excuses? Do they see opportunity or injustice? Reactions to others' success reveal the size of their own vision. Pay attention to their reaction to silence in conversation. Some people become uncomfortable and fill the space with words. Others use it as thinking time. Some interpret it as rejection. Others see it as permission to be thoughtful. Reactions to silence reveal comfort with uncertainty. Watch how they react when their authority is questioned. Do they explain or demand? Do they listen or lecture? Do they welcome the challenge or punish the challenger? Do they see questions as attacks or as opportunities for clarity? Reactions to challenge reveal the security of their position. The master of human nature learns to create situations that reveal reactions safely. A gentle question to see defensiveness, a small compliment to observe self-worth. a moment of silence to reveal their comfort with uncertainty. Read reactions, predict patterns, win without fighting. Control leaves fingerprints, flattery, guilt, urgency. These are not tactics of the strong, but signs of strategy. When someone needs to manipulate you, they reveal two things. They want something from you, and they doubt their ability to get it honestly. Manipulation is the confession of weakness disguised as strength. Watch for excessive flattery that comes before requests. The person who suddenly discovers your wonderful qualities right before asking for favors is using praise as currency. Authentic appreciation flows naturally and expects nothing in return. Manufactured compliments feel different than genuine ones. They are too specific, too convenient, and too connected to what the person wants from you. But here's what most people don't understand. Manipulators are often unaware of their own manipulation. The person who uses guilt to control others genuinely believes they are the victim. The one who creates urgency to pressure decisions honestly thinks everything is an emergency. The one who alternates between praise and criticism sincerely believes they are being helpful. Self-aware manipulation is rare. Most manipulation flows from unconscious patterns of neediness and fear. In strategic warfare, I learned to recognize armies that used deception because they lacked strength. The general who relied on elaborate tricks was compensating for inferior forces. The one who used psychological warfare was avoiding direct confrontation. The one who spread misinformation feared the truth of his position. Manipulation is the strategy of those who cannot win through direct means. Study the emotion that leaks around manipulation attempts. Guilt trips come with underlying anger. Love bombing carries desperation. Threats reveal fear of losing control. Gaslighting shows terror of being wrong. The emotion behind the manipulation tells you what the manipulator truly fears. Watch for people who cannot ask directly for what they want. They hint. They suggest. They create situations where you are supposed to offer. They make you feel guilty for not reading their minds. Direct requests require vulnerability. Indirect requests maintain the illusion of control. The inability to ask directly reveals the fear of hearing no. Notice those who use your emotions against you. They make you feel guilty for setting boundaries. They make you feel selfish for having needs. They make you feel crazy for trusting your own perceptions. They weaponize your care for them against your care for yourself. Using someone's love against them is the cruelest form of manipulation. Observe the creation of artificial time. Pressure. Everything is urgent. Every decision must be made now. Every opportunity is disappearing. This urgency is designed to bypass your rational thinking and trigger fear-based reactions. Artificial urgency is the enemy of good decisions. Pay attention to the alternation between reward and punishment. They praise you when you comply and punish you when you resist. They give affection when you submit and withdraw it when you assert yourself. This inconsistency creates emotional dependence. Intermittent reinforcement is the most powerful addiction. Watch for people who cannot handle your independent thinking. They become upset when you disagree. They punish you for having different opinions. They try to isolate you from other perspectives. They need you to need them. The need to control others' thoughts reveals the absence of self-worth. The wise strategist learns to recognize manipulation not to become manipulative, but to become free. When you can see the strings, you cannot be controlled by them. What is said is surface. What is withheld is power. Read the unsaid. Every conversation has two levels, what is spoken and what is protected. The spoken level is performance. The protected level is truth. The master of perception learns to read both simultaneously. People reveal themselves not just in what they choose to share, but in what they choose to hide, the topics they avoid, the questions they deflect, the subjects that make them uncomfortable. These are the territories where their real secrets live. Watch what someone never talks about. The person who discusses everything except their family has family issues. The one who speaks of everything except money has money problems. The one who mentions everything except their past has past traumas. Silence is not empty. It is full of meaning. But here's what most people don't understand. What people hide from you, they are usually hiding from themselves. The man who cannot discuss his fears has not acknowledged them to himself. The woman who avoids talking about her dreams has not admitted how much they matter to her. The leader who never mentions his mistakes has not processed the lessons they contain. Self-awareness is the foundation of all honesty with others. In military intelligence, I learned that what the enemy didn't want us to know was more valuable than what they were willing to reveal. The fortress they didn't want us to see was their weakness. The strategy they wouldn't discuss was their real plan. The territory they protected most fiercely contained their most valuable resources. Hidden information is often the most important. Information study what makes someone change the subject. When they redirect conversations, when they deflect with humor, when they become suddenly busy or distracted, these moments reveal what they are protecting. The topics people flee from are the territories of their vulnerability. Notice what they minimize or dismiss quickly. The person who rushes past discussions of their achievements fears being seen as boastful. The one who quickly dismisses their problems fears being seen as weak. The one who rapidly changes subject from compliments fears being seen as worthy. What we minimize reveals what threatens our self-image. Watch for emotional reactions to seemingly neutral topics. The person who becomes tense when discussing relationships has relationship wounds. The one who gets defensive about success has imposter syndrome. The one who becomes agitated about certain people or situations has unresolved conflicts. Emotional reactions to neutral topics reveal hidden significance. Pay attention to what they never ask you about. If someone never asks about your family, they may fear intimacy. If they never ask about your work, they may feel competitive. If they never ask about your feelings, they may fear emotional depth. What people don't ask about reveals what they cannot handle. Observe what they protect through control. Some people control information flow to maintain power. Others control emotional expression to avoid vulnerability. Some control physical space to feel secure. Others control conversations to avoid uncomfortable truths. What someone needs to control reveals what they fear losing. But let me ask you this. What are you hiding? What subjects do you avoid? What questions make you uncomfortable? What parts of yourself do you protect from others' view? The strategist who understands their own hidden territories can better recognize when others are protecting theirs. The art of reading the hidden requires patience and subtlety. You cannot force someone to reveal what they protect, but you can create safe spaces where they might choose to share. You can observe patterns over time. You can notice what remains consistent in their silence. Remember, everyone is protecting something. The question is not whether they have secrets, but what those secrets reveal about their character, their fears, and their true motivations. Read the hidden, understand the protected, and you will know people as they truly are, not as they present themselves to be. Listen to the rhythm of their voice. A sharp tone in soft words speaks louder than anger. Words convey information. Tone conveys intention. When these two contradict each other, always trust the tone. The voice betrays what the words attempt to conceal. The person who says, "I'm fine," with a strained voice is not fine. The one who offers help with reluctance in their tone does not want to help. The one who says, "I understand," with impatience in their voice does not understand and does not want to understand. Tone is the emotional truth that words cannot mask. But here's what most people don't understand. Tone reveals not just current emotion, but underlying attitude. The person who consistently speaks to you with barely concealed irritation does not respect you, regardless of their polite words. The one whose voice softens when they see you genuinely cares about you, even if they struggle to express it verbally. The one whose tone becomes guarded when certain topics arise is protecting something in that territory. Tone is the leak in the dam of emotional control. In negotiations during wartime, I learned that the tone of enemy messengers revealed more than their official messages. The diplomat who spoke with confidence was backed by strength. The one who spoke with hesitation was operating from weakness. The one whose voice carried hidden anger was planning retaliation despite peaceful words. Victory belonged to those who could hear what was not being said. Study the speed of someone's speech. Rapid talking often indicates nervousness, excitement, or the desire to overwhelm with information. Slow speaking can indicate careful consideration, condescension, or the attempt to appear more thoughtful than one actually is. Speed reveals comfort level and intention. Listen to volume patterns. People who speak consistently quietly may be naturally gentle, or they may fear taking up space. Those who speak consistently loudly may be naturally enthusiastic, or they may fear not being heard. Those whose volume fluctuates dramatically are usually emotionally unstable. Volume patterns reflect internal confidence and external expectations. Notice pitch changes. Voices that rise in pitch when stressed reveal anxiety. Voices that drop when making important points reveal gravitas. Voices that stay monotone reveal either exceptional control or emotional disconnection. Pitch changes are involuntary stress indicators. Pay attention to breathing patterns in speech. Short, clipped sentences suggest tension or anger. Long, flowing sentences indicate comfort or the desire to control conversation flow. Interrupted breathing patterns reveal internal conflict or deception. Breathing is the foundation of authentic communication. Watch for vocal fry, uptalk, and other speech patterns. Vocal fry can indicate insecurity or the attempt to sound sophisticated. Uptalk can reveal lack of confidence or the need for constant validation. Precise articulation can indicate high standards or the fear of being misunderstood. Speech patterns are personality patterns made audible. Listen to what happens to someone's voice when they talk about different subjects. Their voice brightens when discussing what they love. It flattens when discussing what bores them. It tenses when discussing what threatens them. It softens when discussing what they care about deeply. Vocal changes reveal emotional investment. The way master of perception trains their ear to read the symphony of human emotion that plays beneath every conversation. Words tell you what someone wants you to think. Tone tells you what they actually think and feel. Kindness may be sincere. It may also be currency. Discern when warmth is real and when it is leverage. Not all smiles are equal. The genuine smile engages the entire face, reaches the eyes, and emerges naturally from positive emotion. The strategic smile is performed, controlled, and designed to achieve a specific outcome. The person who smiles constantly is not necessarily happy. They may be people-pleasing. They may be hiding pain. They may be attempting to disarm your defenses. The absence of a smile is not necessarily hostility. It may be authenticity, focus, or simple honesty about their current state. Learn to read the difference between expression and manipulation. But here's what most people don't understand. Most performed kindness is not consciously calculated. The person who is excessively nice to everyone has usually learned that niceness is safety. The one who offers help they cannot afford to give genuinely believes they must earn love through service. The one who agrees with everyone to avoid conflict honestly thinks they are being helpful. Performed kindness often flows from unconscious survival strategies, not malicious intent. In my observations of court politics, I learned that excessive friendliness was often a warning sign. The courtier who was friendly to everyone was usually loyal to no one. The advisor who agreed with every opinion held no real opinions. The general who praised every strategy was preparing his own. Authentic support is selective. Artificial support is universal. Study the timing of someone's kindness. Does it appear when they want something? Does it increase when they feel threatened? Does it disappear when they feel secure? Does it fluctuate based on what you can do for them? Strategic kindness has patterns. Authentic kindness is consistent. Watch how someone's warmth changes based on audience. The person who is charming to some people and cold to others is performing. Charm, not feeling it. The one who adjusts their personality dramatically based on who is present lacks a stable core identity. Authentic warmth treats people consistently, regardless of their status or usefulness. Notice how they treat people who cannot benefit them: service workers, children, elderly people, those with less power or influence. This treatment reveals their true character because there is no strategic advantage to be gained. Character is revealed when there is no benefit to good behavior. Observe what happens when their kindness is not reciprocated. Do they continue being kind, or do they become resentful? Do they maintain their warmth, or do they withdraw it as punishment? Do they respect your boundaries, or do they pressure you to return their energy? The response to unreturned kindness reveals whether it was given freely or as an investment. Pay attention to the cost of someone's generosity. Are they giving from abundance or scarcity? Are they helping in ways that genuinely help, or in ways that create dependence? Are they solving problems or creating obligations? True generosity empowers. Strategic generosity controls. Watch for kindness that comes with conditions. The person who is nice to you but expects specific responses is trading, not giving. The one who withdraws warmth when you disappoint them was never giving it freely. Conditional kindness is not kindness. It is a transaction disguised as a gift. The wise strategist appreciates genuine kindness while recognizing strategic kindness. Both have their place in human interaction, but only one builds trust. When someone withdraws, they are not absent. They are calculating. Learn what silence intends to protect. Silence is never empty. It carries weight, intention, and meaning. The person who suddenly becomes quiet in group conversations is processing something significant. The one who stops responding to texts is making a statement. The one who withdraws from regular communication is protecting something or preparing something. Different silences speak different languages. Learn to interpret them all. But here's what most people don't understand. Silence is often more powerful than speech. The parent who stops arguing with their rebellious teenager is not giving up. They are changing strategy. The employee who stops making suggestions is not becoming passive. They are withdrawing investment. The friend who stops initiating contact is not becoming distant. They are testing the relationship's balance. Silence is action disguised as inaction. In warfare, I learned that an enemy's silence was often more dangerous than their threats. The general who stopped communicating was planning surprise attacks. The army that went quiet was repositioning for advantage. The diplomat who ceased negotiations was preparing for war. Silence is the prelude to significant action. Study the quality of different silences. Angry silence feels heavy and charged with unspoken words. Hurt silence feels withdrawn and protective. Calculating silence feels alert and strategic. Peaceful silence feels open and relaxed. The energy of silence reveals its purpose. Watch what? Break someone's silence. Do they respond to direct questions or only to specific topics? Do they emerge when they feel safe or when they feel pressured? Do they break silence to defend themselves or to reconnect with others? What ends silence reveals what caused it. Notice who gets comfortable with silence and who cannot tolerate it. The person who fills every quiet moment with words fears what might emerge in the emptiness. The one who uses silence strategically understands its power. The one who rests in silence peacefully has made friends with uncertainty. Comfort with silence reveals comfort with yourself. Observe the timing of withdrawal. Some people go silent when overwhelmed, needing space to process. Others go silent when angry, using withdrawal as punishment. Some go silent when planning, using quiet to think clearly. Others go silent when hiding, Using silence to avoid accountability. The timing of silence reveals its motivation. Pay attention to selective silence. The person who stops talking to you but continues talking to others is making a targeted statement. The one who becomes quiet only about certain topics is protecting specific territories. The one who withdraws only in certain situations is managing specific fears. Selective silence is strategic silence. Watch how someone uses silence in conversations. Do they use pauses to think or to control? Do they stay quiet to listen or to avoid participating? Do they withhold responses to punish or to protect? The use of silence reveals the user's relationship with power. But let me ask you this: what does your silence communicate? When you withdraw, what are you protecting? When you go quiet, what are you calculating? Are you conscious of the messages your silence sends? The master of human nature respects silence as communication and reads it as carefully as words. Comfort lowers the guard. Casual talk reveals values. Idle moments uncover purpose. When people feel secure, they stop performing. Their authentic personality emerges. Their real opinions surface. Their true priorities become visible. This is when you learn who they actually are beneath the social masks they wear in formal situations. Watch someone when they think they are among friends. Listen to their casual comments about people who are not present. Observe their behavior when they believe there are no consequences. Notice what they find funny, what they criticize, what they value when they think no one important is judging them. Unguarded moments are the most revealing moments. But here's what most people don't understand. People are most honest when they feel most safe, and most deceptive when they feel most threatened. The person who seems kind in public but cruel in private is showing you their authentic self in private. The one who appears confident in groups but insecure in intimate conversations is revealing their real emotional state in intimacy. The one who acts generously when watched but selfishly when alone is demonstrating their true character when alone. Safety reveals truth. Threat reveals strategy. In my military experience, I learned the most about enemy commanders not from formal negotiations, but from observing them during moments they thought they were unobserved. How they treated their own soldiers, what they did during leisure time, how they spoke when they believed no enemies were listening. Character emerges when people think the stakes are low. Study someone's behavior in low-pressure social situations. How do they treat service workers when no one they want to impress is watching? How do they behave at casual gatherings where they have nothing to gain? How do they act when they are tired, hungry, or stressed, but trying to maintain normalcy? Low stakes situations reveal high-value information about character. Notice what people complain about when they think it is safe to complain. Their grievances reveal their values, their expectations, and their sense of entitlement. The person who complains about others' success envies achievement. The one who complains about others' happiness resents joy. The one who complains about rules fears structure. Complaints map the territory of internal dissatisfaction. Watch their casual cruelty or casual kindness. The offhand comment that dismisses someone's feelings. The quick gesture of help when they think no one notices. The small act of consideration when there is no audience. These unconscious behaviors emerge from their core programming. Unconscious. Behavior is the truest behavior. Observe what they do with gossip. Do they spread it, stop it, or ignore it? Do they participate in character assassination when the target is absent? Do they defend people who are not there to defend themselves? Do they use information as currency or protect it as sacred? Treatment of absent people reveals character toward all people. Pay attention to their relationship with rules when they think no one is enforcing them. Do they follow speed limits on empty roads? Do they return extra change when the cashier makes an error? Do they keep commitments even when breaking them would be convenient and undetected? Behavior without enforcement reveals internal moral structure. Notice how they handle small frustrations when they think they are among allies, road rage when only family is in the car, impatience with technology when working alone, irritation with delays when no clients are watching. Private frustrations reveal emotional regulation capacity. The wise strategist creates opportunities for people to feel safe and observes what emerges in that safety. But remember, this knowledge is power, and power requires responsibility in its use. Intent is clearest when there is no incentive to pretend. Observe their conduct with those they do not fear. Character is not revealed in how someone treats their superiors, their equals, or those who can benefit them. Character is revealed in how they treat those who have nothing to offer and nothing to threaten. The waiter who cannot affect their career. The janitor who will never be useful to them. The elderly person who moves slowly in their path. The child who interrupts their important conversation. The homeless person who asks for help. The employee who depends on them for survival. In these interactions, you see who they truly are. But here's what most people don't understand. Treatment of the powerless is not about the powerless. It is about the person doing the treating. The person who is kind to those who cannot help them is secure in themselves. The one who is cruel to those who cannot fight back is revealing their own powerlessness. The one who ignores those beneath their social status fears their own position is fragile. How you treat the powerless reveals how powerful you actually feel. In my observations of leadership, I learned that the generals who treated their soldiers with respect commanded loyalty unto death. Those who treated soldiers as disposable resources faced mutiny and desertion. The way power treats powerlessness predicts the stability of that power. True strength protects. False strength dominates. Study someone's patience with those who serve them. Do they thank the person who cleans their office? Do they acknowledge the driver who takes them to meetings? Do they remember the names of people who regularly assist them? Do they speak respectfully to those whose job it is to help them? Gratitude toward service reveals internal security and external awareness. Watch how they handle mistakes made by those beneath them. Do they explode at the server who brings the wrong order? Do they humiliate the employee who makes an error? Do they punish harshly those who cannot defend themselves? Or do they remain calm, offer correction kindly, and remember that everyone makes mistakes? Response to others' mistakes reveals emotional regulation and basic humanity. Notice their behavior toward those seeking help. Do they dismiss panhandlers with disgust? Do they ignore requests for assistance? Do they treat neediness as a character flaw? Or do they respond with compassion even when they cannot or choose not to help? Treatment of neediness reveals understanding. Of human vulnerability, observe how they speak about absent people who hold less power. Do they mock their struggles? Do they blame them for their circumstances? Do they speak of them as less worthy of respect? Do they use derogatory language about entire groups of people? Language about the powerless reveals core beliefs about human worth. Pay attention to their impatience with slowness or weakness. Do they become irritated with elderly people who move slowly? Do they show frustration with children who do not understand quickly? Do they lose patience with anyone who cannot keep up with their pace? Impatience with limitation reveals lack of compassion for the human condition. Watch their response to interruption by those they consider unimportant. Do they brush off the question from the maintenance worker? Do they ignore the comment from the junior employee? Do they dismiss input from anyone they consider beneath their level? Response to unimportant input reveals arrogance versus humility. But let me ask you this. How do you treat those who cannot benefit you? How do you speak? To those who serve you? How patient are you with those who move slower than you prefer? The master of character development understands that strength is measured not by who you can dominate, but by how you treat those you could dominate, but choose not to. What people say about someone is secondhand. What you see them do is undeniable. Reputation is constructed. Behavior is revealed. Reputation can be managed. manipulated, and manufactured. Behavior emerges from character and cannot be faked consistently over time. The person everyone calls honest may lie skillfully. The one everyone calls kind may be cruel in private. The one everyone calls strong may be weak when tested. The one everyone calls successful may be failing in ways that matter most. Trust your own observations over others' opinions. But here's what most people don't understand. Reputation often becomes a prison that prevents you from seeing clearly. When someone has a reputation for being trustworthy, you stop watching for signs of deception. When someone has a reputation for being difficult, you stop noticing their moments of kindness. When someone has a reputation for being incompetent, you stop seeing their areas of skill. Reputation creates expectation. Expectation creates blindness. In military intelligence, I learned that the enemy's reputation was often their greatest weapon of deception. The general known for being cautious could surprise with aggressive attacks. The army known for being weak could be hiding strength. The leader known for being honorable could be planning betrayal. Reputation is intelligence that may be intentionally false. Study the gap between someone's reputation and your direct experience with them. If someone is known for being punctual, but is always late with you, what does that tell you about how they prioritize your relationship? If someone is known for being generous, but is stingy in your interactions, what does that reveal about their true character or their feelings toward you? Personal experience overrides public reputation. Watch how someone manages their own reputation. Do they work harder on appearing successful than on being successful? Do they invest more energy in looking good than in doing good? Do they care more about what people think than about what is actually true? Reputation management reveals priority between substance and image. Notice how they treat their reputation when it is threatened. Do they defend themselves with facts or with attacks on their accusers? Do they take responsibility for legitimate criticism, or do they deflect all blame? Do they use their reputation as evidence of their character, or do they let their character speak for itself? Response to reputation threats reveals the relationship between image and reality. Observe whether their private behavior matches their public reputation. The person known for family values who neglects their own family, the one known for business ethics who cheats on small deals, the one known for loyalty who gossips about their closest friends. Private behavior is the truth test of public reputation. Pay attention to how they speak about others' reputations. Do they repeat gossip as fact? Do they judge people based on rumors? Do they defend those who are being unfairly maligned? Do they contribute to character assassination or resist it? Treatment of others' reputations reveals their own character. Watch what happens when their reputation and immediate self-interest conflict. Do they maintain their image at personal cost? Do they sacrifice their reputation for principle? Do they protect their image while compromising their values? Reputation versus integrity reveals true priorities. But let me ask you this: what is your reputation, and does it match your reality? Do you work harder on appearing to be something or on actually being something? When reputation and truth conflict, which do you choose? The wise strategist builds character that creates authentic reputation rather than managing reputation to hide weak character. You can change your words, you can fake your role, but under pressure, your nature returns. People can modify their behavior temporarily. They can adjust their strategy. They can learn new skills and adopt new habits. But their fundamental nature, their core patterns of response, their deepest fears, their automatic reactions, these remain remarkably consistent throughout their lives. The person who is naturally suspicious will doubt even when they try to trust. The one who is naturally generous will give even when they try to hoard. The one who is naturally controlling will manage even when they try to delegate. Learned behavior is temporary. Natural behavior is permanent. But here's what most people don't understand. People often confuse temporary change with permanent transformation. The angry person who learns to control their temper has not stopped being angry. They have learned to manage their anger. Under sufficient stress, the anger will return. The selfish person who learns to share has not become generous. They have learned that sharing serves their interests. When sharing costs too much, selfishness will resurface. Management is not transformation. Training is not nature. In my experience with soldiers, I learned that training could modify behavior, but could not change essential character. The coward could be trained to advance under fire, but under extreme pressure, fear would dominate. The natural leader could be ordered to follow, but in crisis, leadership would emerge. Crisis reveals nature. Comfort reveals training. Study how. Someone responds when exhausted, stressed, or overwhelmed. Their polite facade drops. Their learned behaviors fail. Their natural responses take control. The person who becomes cruel when tired is naturally cruel. The one who becomes generous when stressed is naturally generous. Fatigue is the enemy of performance and the revealer of nature. Watch what remains consistent across different contexts and relationships. The person who dominates conversations at work, at home, and at social gatherings has a need to control dialogue. The one who deflects responsibility in every situation where blame is possible has a fundamental aversion to accountability. Cross-context. Consistency reveals core programming. Notice what emerges when someone drinks alcohol or faces extreme emotion. Alcohol lowers inhibitions and reveals suppressed aspects of personality. Extreme emotion bypasses conscious control and exposes automatic responses. The mean drunk is revealing suppressed anger. The weepy drunk is revealing suppressed sadness. Lowered inhibitions reveal authentic impulses. Observe how they handle repeated frustration. The first disappointment tests patience. The second tests resilience. The third tests character. The fifth reveals nature. How someone responds to repeated difficulty shows you their fundamental relationship with adversity. Repeated stress reveals core coping mechanisms. Pay attention to what they return to after attempting change. The person who repeatedly returns to the same destructive behaviors despite consequences is showing you their true nature. The one who consistently falls back into familiar patterns when stressed is revealing their default operating system. What someone returns to reveals what they actually are. Watch for moments when they forget to maintain their image, when they are surprised, interrupted, or caught off guard, when they think no one important is watching, when they are focused on something else entirely. These moments reveal unguarded authenticity. Unguarded moments reveal unmanaged nature. But let me ask you this. What is your nature beneath your training? What emerges when you are stressed, tired, or overwhelmed? What patterns do you return to despite your intentions to change? The master of self-awareness understands their own nature and works with it rather than against it. Only then can they accurately read the nature of others. You win without fighting when you read without asking. Your advantage lies not in what you say, but in what you see. The ultimate strategic advantage is understanding others better than they understand themselves. When you can predict their reactions, anticipate their needs, and see their motivations. Clearly, you hold power that no amount of force or persuasion can match. This is not manipulation. This is mastery. The difference lies in your intention and your application of this knowledge. The master uses understanding to create win-win situations. The manipulator uses understanding to create win-lose situations. The master seeks to elevate all parties. The manipulator seeks to elevate only themselves. Wisdom distinguishes between power over others and power with others. But here's what most people don't understand. The greatest advantage of reading people accurately is not in controlling them, but in understanding how to work with them effectively. When you know someone's natural communication style, you can speak their language. When you understand their core motivations, you can align your proposals with their interests. When you recognize their fears, you can avoid triggering their defenses. When you see their strengths, you can leverage them for mutual benefit. Understanding others is the foundation of all successful relationships and collaborations. In my strategic thinking, I learned that the general who understood his own troops and his enemy's troops could position both armies for the outcome he desired, not through force, but through positioning, not through domination, but through understanding. The highest victory is achieving your objectives while allowing others to achieve theirs. Now you possess the 18 principles of reading human intention. You know to watch behavior over words. You understand that eyes confess before mouths do. You recognize that pauses reveal internal conflicts. You see that actions carve character. You notice that excess shadows insecurity. You can contrast words with deeds. You know patterns predict more than promises. You read reactions as pure signals. You spot manipulation through leaked emotion. You understand that the hidden is greater than the shown. You listen to tone over content. You discern the motives. Behind smiles, you interpret the language of silence. You observe people when they feel safe. You judge character through treatment of the powerless. You trust behavior over reputation. You know that nature stays fixed while intentions drift. And now you understand that mastery lies in reading without asking. Use this knowledge wisely. Read people not to exploit them, but to understand them. Understand them not to control them, but to work with them effectively. Work with them not for your benefit alone, but for mutual advancement. The truly powerful need not dominate others. They understand others so completely that cooperation becomes inevitable and conflict becomes unnecessary. This is the way of the master strategist. This is the path of those who win without fighting. You already have what it takes. Now go prove it.